What's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Mikey Raider, coming to you from Allegiant Stadium. I'm just kidding. From my bathroom. Why the hell not? If you guys got a problem with it, get out of here. Might as well kill two birds with one stone, if you know what I'm saying. What are we going to talk about on today's quick video? Well, there's a couple of problems that might be happening for the Raiders this upcoming offseason and or season, and I want to talk about it. Will it be a problem? Will it not be a problem? And what to expect moving forward. That being said, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for early and exclusive content. And I have donation portals down below as I try to make a living off of YouTube, which I will not be able to do, but I might be able to buy some tacos with your support, your love, some donations, and your kindness. Hopefully by the end of today's quick video, I earned your subscription, your like, and or a taco. All right, what's one of the problems that I foresee on the future for the Raiders? Well, not that many. Not as many as I did last year and the previous years. I'm somewhat of a jaded Raider fan. And I know we say this every year, but it feels different. Maybe it's because Pete Carroll and John Spytek, in my opinion, crushed the draft and they're making smart business decisions and they're building from within while also adding little sprinkles here and there. But in my opinion, they're trying to build a foundation. And I can kind of see it. Doesn't mean it's fully planned out. The diagrams have all been written, but I can see the startings of a plan. And maybe it's because my old age or wisdom comes with old age, but I don't think I've seen it before. Now it's because we're paying more attention as Raider fans. So, I don't foresee a lot of problems, but there are minute issues that might creep up during the season and in the off season and what stuff like that. And sometimes I'm good at predicting these things. Like 2 years ago, I predicted the Davante Adams stuff at the end of the season. Then he went on the shows or the receiver TV show, and then it all came out public, and I saw it early on. Basically, once they got rid of Derek Carr, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams were talking shit about everything because of Josh McDaniels, of course. But their contempt was noticeable, and we could all see it. And for some reason, I'm good at predicting problems. So that brings me into today's first possible problem with this upcoming season is our receiver corps. I know we drafted Jack Betch, life's a Betch, and stuff like that, and it looks promising and it looks good. But there's going to be a Jacoby Myers situation that's going to happen very, very soon. It might not happen officially this season, but he's only under contract for 1 more year. He is our go-to receiver at the moment. Trey Tucker, Jack Beach, and they haven't really proven anything to this point. So we are struggling in the receiver department, but thank God we got somebody like Brock Bowers that can be a receiver at times as well. Then we got possibly a quarterback converted to wide receiver and stuff like that. But did we really address our wide receiver core? Well, the jury's still out. And they're looking for oil. A P. Diddy pun. But Jacoby Myers is our star. And if he wants to get paid, he might be a holdout. Because business-wise, he's had over 1,000 yards. I think maybe the last 2 seasons with the Raiders. It might have been the last season only. But he's our star wide receiver. I know we got a couple of other players, but the name for some reason is not in my head. So that means, in my opinion, they are not a star-studded wide receiver like Geno Smith had in DK Metcalf. Geno has pieces to a puzzle, but he needs that big go-to threat. And I should have done more research, but I can't think of any receiver that the Raiders have, except maybe one of the two drafted, that might become that threat. So, for my knowledge, the lack of it at this moment, Jakobi Meyers can hold out to get more money. He could use that power move against the Raiders. Will he choose to do it? He said and done all the right things, so I don't think he will. But he could do that just to get an extension or something before the year is up. Or he'll bet on himself. I don't know what's going to happen there. I foresee a possible issue, whether it be if he chooses a power move to get an extension. That means he wants to stay with the Raiders and he wants to build, the team this way. Or if he's unhappy for some reason with his money and he wants to go elsewhere. Again, he's the only dude that has gotten it done for many years. So, again, I cannot predict an official problem, but I foresee one possibly happening, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. But he might bet on himself and play this whole year and ball out to try to get another contract in free agency the following year, whether it be with the Raiders or somebody else. So please let me know from your perspective. Would Jakobi Meyers be a holdout for an extension, or will he ball out and try to ball out and become a free agent and bet on himself, or ball out during half of the season and hope the Raiders before the end of the season come to him with a contract extension? Would you sign him again? Before, after, or whatever? I don't know. If you're asking me, would I sign Jakobi Meyers to an extension? I would do it right now, and I'd get it done because he is an integral part to the Raiders, as he has proven the past couple of seasons. I would get an extension done right now, talk to him about his feelings, even though there's still a lot up in the air with the receivers we drafted and the ones we got in free agency. But I would get it done. I see him as an integral piece, and probably the most important piece besides Brock Bowers to Geno Smith in this offense. Let me know your thoughts. Now, my second issue is I recently found out through the OTAs, the rookie minicamp, or whatever they call it, Ashton Genty was asked to change his stance. I guess he stands upright more so, like with his, and then he runs, and he made all that yardage and did all that good stuff in college with an upright stance. But in the NFL, you don't see that many players with that type of a stance. And some professionals, a la Chip Kelly and other people, think that is not the stance to have for the NFL, so you can gain an edge or a step. So apparently, Ashton Genty, regardless of what he did in college, broke all the records and runner-up to the Heisman and blah, blah, blah. Chip Kelly asked him to change his stance. Now, how do I feel about this? Again, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And if it is the way of the NFL, and if it adds a step, I'm no professor, then it's a good thing. And it would show Ashton Genty can change and he'll do whatever it takes to get better. But I do hope that Chip Kelly understands asking a playmaking rookie that has done that stance for probably the most of his career, probably since high school, and the college coaches did not ask him to change his stance. I hope, Chip Kelly, I hope you know that this might be a possible pediment, especially early on for Ashton Genty. Maybe he'll figure it out and it's no disruption to his gameplay or whatever. Maybe it adds a step, maybe it doesn't. Anybody can figure that one out on their own and have their own opinion. But for me, I hope they put in plays where he can do both. I hope Chip Kelly has an open mind to understand that Ashton might struggle with this, but he might not. This might not even be a question a year from now. But Chip Kelly does have a history of trying to change players for his system or for what he likes to do and not giving leeway. And that feels like a Josh McDaniels type of coaching situation that I do not think goes well with a lot of today's players coming out of college into the NFL. Chip Kelly has fucked over a lot of running backs' careers. Not a lot. We'll say one or two. LaShawn McCoy and stuff like that. And he needs Ashton Genty to be Ashton Genty. Now you're asking Ashton Genty to be something else to go into your system. And I understand the coach wants to see what he has, how he's going to play, if it's going to gain a step or gain an edge. So hopefully they're just diagnosing it, and hopefully everything I'm thinking about, all my worries are for naught. But at the first glance, when I heard it, I was like, why, Chip Kelly? Why? Motherfucker's coming into college, man. Let him do what he wants to do. But this will prove if he's coachable, if he's willing to do what it takes, and he'll accredit himself to Chip Kelly's system and respect Chip Kelly's resume in college. Now, Chip Kelly in the previous couple of seasons of college has used the running back by committee approach. Maybe running backs are important to him, but not that important, to where he just wants to figure out the best running backs for certain plays and certain positions. And he's got a couple of running backs that can do that, especially with the veterans for the Raiders. And I don't really have an issue with it. But the problem is the optics of this is going to be really, really tough for a lot of Raider fans. Why are you changing Ashton Genty? Why are you trying to make him assimilate to your system and to what you want? And then other Raider fans are going to be like, he's going to add a step. He's going to be that much quicker because he's already in a leaning motion. You know, it's the elevation of the body and the way the wind forms and the step. And I don't know. And the rumors are the reason Ashton Genty stood up tall in his stance was so he can survey the defensive linebackers in the field and try to get a feel for maybe some positions that if he's getting close to being tackled, that he could run to an area so he could see the field. So that's why one of the rumors that he stood in that stance. And that is very, very interesting. Because the running back can get a leg up by understanding the defensive positions while he's standing there before they play call and hand him the rock. Now, with a lowered stance, your visibility is going to be lowered. Hopefully, Ashton Genty can figure out heads and stuff like that and try to put the same positioning by seeing a little part of their hedge or whatever, but maybe he's not seeing past the offensive line. I don't know if that will hinder Ashton Genty. So we're going to have to see how that plays out, you know, not only in training camp, but in the preseason. Chip Kelly is a genius, and if it's not working, he'll probably tell Ashton Genty, hey, man, go back to what you're doing. Or every once in a while, go ahead and stand up on third down. Go ahead and stand up on third down instead of, bending down. I don't know. I just hope Chip Kelly will work with him, let him do it every so often, and not bombard Ashton Genty on every down to do that. But then again, the earlier the better to teach Ashton Genty to bend down for his stance. The earlier the better. So if we find out if there's mistakes or issues, we can correct it before the season starts. Let me know if you think it's going to be an issue, if it's not an issue, or you don't really care. Some people, it's not even an issue, and we shouldn't even worry about it. But it's interesting to think about it, because whenever you change things that somebody's been doing at an award-winning level, sometimes it causes issues. Sometimes it does. But hey, it'll separate the MVPs from the P's. And speaking of P's, now the last possible issue is, well, first off, some good news. Malcolm Kuntz is apparently says he's 100% recovered and healthy to start training camp, and that's a good sign for our defensive line. Now, one of the big issues on our defensive line, and one of my biggest questions this offseason, is Christian Wilkins. Well, he got injured in the 5th game of the season. He broke his foot, had multiple surgeries on it. And for a big man, whenever you break your foot and have a couple of surgeries on it, that's your feet. Big men need to push off of their feet, their toes. They need all that power goes into your feet and the bottom of your legs. And now Christian Wilkins, as a big man, has had problems in that area, and now he's had a couple of surgeries on his actual feet. I've had surgery on my feet, and I've never been the same. I have broken 14 spots in my toe, or not in my toe, in my foot, and I've had 2 surgeries to correct things and put metal rods and all that other stuff, and I will never be the same. And I am not the same. I walk completely different. But again, he is a big man with more athletic ability than I've ever had, and they know how to energize their body and do stuff like that. But he will never, in my opinion, he will never be 100%. And he was recently out of the walking boot. And now we're not a year in, but we're at least 8 months later, 9 months later, and he was still in a walking boot. Then they pulled him out for some OTAs and some exercises, and then they immediately put him back in the walking boot. Now, we're about 3 months away from training camp, so it might be a moot point, but I don't think Christian Wilkins will be 100%, and I don't think he'll be ready or a starter day one, and I think they're going to have to put him on a pitch count and hope for no injuries, and they're going to have to ramp him up. And I now understand why they basically drafted a bunch of defensive linemen and undrafted free agencies, a bunch of defensive linemen, because they have a feeling that maybe a couple of their defensive linemen that they're relying on are going to be on pitch counts, and they're trying to find a diamond in the rough with these drafted players or undrafted free agents. But the good news from Malcolm Kuntz is really, really good, but he's like an edge rusher. But that being said, I have some worries about Christian Wilkins. And a lot of people are saying that's why Miami got rid of him. They knew that he was starting to break down, having little sores and tears in his feet and in his body. And, they got rid of him at the right moment. And now the Raiders are going to have to deal with his career at the latter half of his career with injury after injury and after injury. And that scares the fuck out of me because we need this dude. I don't think he'll be 100% this season at any point. He'll never be 100% in my opinion. But if he could be at least 85% of what he was before these injuries, that's great. And he's still one of the best in the league when it's done. But I don't think he's going to be, and I'm not going to say the word starter from day one because they could play him in week 1, but it doesn't mean like he's an every down player now. I don't think he's going to be healthy, if at all, They normally say it's 1.5 to 2 years after an injury like that and after surgeries. So you guys would understand the time frame. That would be looking into 2026 if he can bounce back from it. But then again, it's on his foot. And once your foot breaks, it doesn't stop breaking. It's weakened now. The bone structure is less dense. And he's a big man that needs to push off of his feet. So I'm very, very worried about this situation. But again, we got to hope for the best. And I think they're going to have him on a pitch count. He's not going to play any preseason games. He might play a couple of downs on the first game if he's out of the walking boot and healthy. But I don't see him being anywhere near 60, 70% until at least week 6. So, yeah, I'm worried about our defensive line and especially our defensive tackle positions in the NFL today. Will the Raiders be buyers at the end of summer once training camp starts on the free agency market? I think they're going to have to be. I think they're going to have to be out of necessity. Because right now, we have injured players that are slightly injured here and there. And we're going to get some more during training camp in OTAs. So the Raiders are going to have to be buyers with free agents, even though they've shown that they don't want to spend any money this offseason or the last 3 off seasons, let's be honest. They're always saving like $30 to $35 million for that interest money. But yeah, so let me know if you're worried about Christian Wilkins. Man, I don't think we ever, except for 5 games, saw a healthy Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins together to create a dominant team. But I think the Raiders are going to be buyers at the end of the summer in free agency for whoever's left. Jalen Ramsey's available, and they're trying to trade him, the Miami Dolphins. Should the Raiders take a chance? Could we get him for a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick? You know. But we'd have to take on his contract, and I don't know what it is. But I would look at it. I would look at it. All right, that being said, that's my video for today. Please let me know any topics that you guys think I should talk about on another bathroom video. Any concerns you have, let me know down below. Other than that, this is going to be a fun offseason. And as I predicted, I believe the Raiders are going to win somewhere around 8 to 9 games. And I think the NFL, per their scripted schedule, have the Raiders in the final 2 games as TBD, to be determined. Which means if the NFL is scripted, the final 2 games are against like the Chiefs and somebody else, the Giants, and it's to be determined, meaning they're predicting the Raiders will be in the wild card seeding and playing for a possible wild card or the playoffs in order to put those games TBD. Or the Giants will be in the wild card hunt, and the Chiefs always are in the playoff hunt and making the playoffs. So I think the NFL schedule has been predicted that the Raiders are at least going to win 7 or 8 games by that point. And then they're going to possibly be in a playoff hunt for a wild card in those final 2 games to where the NFL can make those games prime time. Just my 2 cents. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay Raider. I love you. I'll see you on the next video. Peace!